Subject English. Standard 4th. Hello students, I am Elizabeth Sibi and today we are going to learn one beautiful story. Let us see what is the name of the chapter. Androcles and the Lion. In this chapter, we will study how Androcles became the friend of Lion. It's a very beautiful story. Let us start. Let us read and then I will explain you in detail. Long, long ago, there lived a kind, gentle, and courteous. Courteous means polite and respectful man called Androcles. But he had a very cruel master. So students, they have not given in which place Androcles were born. So long, long ago there lived. Androcles was very kind. He was very polite. He was very respectful for others. But he had a very cruel master. Cruel means who's not good and kind, who always torture others. Let us see what the cruel master is doing for the Androcles. So students, I already told you the meaning of courteous. Let us see one more time the meaning. Courteous, polite and respectful. In those days, kings, nobles and other wealthy men. Noble means a person who comes from a family of high social rank, and other wealthy men as their slaves. Slave means a person who is legally owned by someone else and has to work from them. Students, in EVS 2, I showed you the picture of slave. So Androcles was a slave. The slave were forced to work for their masters. How cruel, right? Give meaning. Slave, a person who is legally owned by someone else and has to work from them. Noble, a person who comes from a family of high social rank. They had to do what their masters told them. They had no freedom, no rights, even when they were unhappy with their master. They could not leave him. Students, such a bad thing, right? The slaves were forced to work for their masters. They had to do what the masters told them. They had no freedom and no rights. Even when they were unhappy with their master, they couldn't leave them. Androcles do not like the wicked master. Wicked means cruel master. His master starved his slaves and often whipped him. Androcles felt that even death was better than serving such a master. Androcles was a good man, good person, but he was under the slave of the cruel master. They were bound by law to obey the master. Bond means having a moral or legal duty to do something. However wicked he might be. So, Androcles was in law to obey his master. He couldn't leave his master. Many a times, Androcles thought that death was even better than living as a slaves. Bound, having a moral or legal duty to do something. Androcles did not like his wicked master. His masters starved his slaves. Slaves means a person who is legally owned by someone else and has to work from him and often whipped them. Androcles felt that even death was better than serving such a master. So students, Androcles many times felt that death was even better to live as a slave. A slave means it's a to be under a person. Such a bad thing, right? He had to do all everything what the master said. Whipped to hit a person or animal with a thin cord fastened to a handle. He kept looking out for a good opportunity. At the first chance he escaped from the clutches. Clutches means the power and control of someone, of his cruel master. So students, you have thought that why Androcles have not escaping from the kingdom. So here he got the chance to escape. Let us see what happens where the Androcle reached when he escaped. Clutches the power and control of someone. Now, although Androcles had thus run away, he was not a crowd. Crowd means a person who has no courage. He took shelter in a forest. He was not afraid of wild beasts that roamed the forest. So students, finally, the Androcles have escaped from the cruel master and he has reached to a forest. But he is not afraid of any wild animals in the forest. Let us see what happens further. Will any wild animal attack Androcles? Or let's see what is going to happen. Crowd, a person who has no courage. He did not mind that he had no roof over his head. He was happy that he was a free as a bird to go wherever he wished. Yes, Androcles was very happy that he got escape from the cruel master and he was a free bird. He could go wherever he want. He had no house to live. He was a free bird. Let us see now what happens further. One day, as he was wandering means roaming from one place to another aimlessly in the forest, he suddenly came face to face with the lion. His first reaction was to turn and flee. Flee means to escape by running away. So students, Androcles has come face to face to the lion. As you all know, he was in the forest. And in the forest there are wild animals. Now let us see, will the lion attack Androcles or anything else is going to happen? Let us read further. Flee. escape by running away. But then he saw that the lion had not moved. On seeing him, it neither growled nor roared. In fact, it looked at him piteously. Piteously means in a way that caused you to feel pity, as if it was in great pain. So Androcles saw the lion was in pain. He was saying something to Androcles in his own language. Let us see, will Androcles help lion or no? Piteously, in a way that causes you to feel pity. Androcles paused. Then he moved very cautiously. Cautiously means very carefully towards the lion. Step by step, the lion moaned. Moaned means to make a long, low sound of pain. And whimpered. Whimpered means make unhappy, frightened sounds. Please help me, its eyes seem to say. Students, Androcles first, when he saw the lion, he paused. He waited for some time. He got scared. And then he slowly stepped towards the lion. The lion was in some worry. His sound was saying that he was like unhappy. The lion was saying, please help me. Let us see why the lion need the help from Androcles. Cautiously, very carefully. Mourned to make a long, low sound of pain. Whimpered, make unhappy, frightened sounds. When Androcles drew near the lion, lowered his head and began to lick his paw. Then Androcles saw that the lion's paw was wounded, sore, and swollen. Sore means painful and uncomfortable because of injury. So, as you know that the Androcles escaped from the cruel master and he reached to the forest and he knew that forest is full of wild animals. Now he came near to the lion, but he saw that the lion, when he saw the Androcles, he lowered his head and began to lick his paw. Paw means the foot of the lion or the animals. And when the Androcles saw that the foot was wounded, sore, and swollen, and he was making the sound of painful. Now, let us see the Androcles is going to help the lion or he's going to run away. Let us read further. Sore, painful and uncomfortable because of injury. On a closer look, Androcles noticed that a big throne had pierced one of the lion's toes. So, this is a cause of lion distress. Distress means sorrow, suffering or pain, thought Androcles. So, you can see in my image, Androcles is watching the lion. But when he saw that the lion's foot is injured, it is pierced with one of the thorn. Thorn means a nail. So you can see in my image how the lion is suffering the pain. Let us read further. Distress, sorrow, suffering, or pain. Summoning up all his courage. Summoning means making a great effort to be brave. Androcles stretched his hand slowly towards the injured paw. He was afraid that the lion would attack him if he touched his swollen paw, but the lion seemed to understand his good intention. So, students, you know that you need a lot of courage to face the wild animals. The same year, the Androcles was afraid to go in front of the lion, but with all his courage, with all his strength, he went near the lion, and the Androcles understood that the lion was had a good intention. He slowly uh, forwarded his hand to Androcles. Now let us see what happens next. Courage, making a great effort to be brave. Androcles took the paw in his left hand deftly. Deftly means skillfully and quickly. He pulled out the throne, then tearing a piece of his own clothing. The kind man bound bound means having a moral or legal duty to do something up the lion's injured paw. To his surprise and wonder, the lion then licked his arm as if to show gratitude. So students, you can see that the Androcles, very kind person. He was so helpful with all his courage. He went near to the lion. He pulled out the throne from the lion's foot and he tear his own cloth and he tied the lion's foot with his own clothing. And you know that the lion can't say thank you. To show the gratitude, he licked his arm of Androcles. Now we will see the friendship between both of them. Let us read further. Deftly, skillfully, and quickly, Androcles remained with the lion till it could walk again. He would hunt in the forest and share his food with the helpless beast. Every day he would clean and dress the lion's wound. Soon the lion was able to move about. Many times it followed Androcles wherever he went. See the friendship between both. This is what when you help others, you will get in return. So every day Androcles clean the lion's foot, the paw, and many a times the lion followed the Androcles wherever he went. He shared the food. Such a lovely thing, right? Let us see more friendship over them. In the meanwhile, Androcles, master had complained to the authorities that his slave Androcles had run away. Soldiers were sent all directions to capture Androcles. They searched for him high and low. High and low means everywhere, but couldn't find him. At last, they came to the forest where Androcles lived. So students, you know that the Androcles had run away from the cruel master and he reached the forest. His master had complained to the authorities that Androcles had run away. The soldiers were searching Androcles everywhere. Finally, They came to know where Androcles lived. The soldiers reached to the place. Let us see what happens next. High and low, everywhere. Capture, to take someone prisoner. It so happened that Androcles had gone out alone that day while the lion rested near the cave. Both of them fell into the hands of the soldiers. The soldiers took them back to the city. They put Androcles in chains in prison. The lion was caged. Students, see my image, how the lion is caged, and how the Androcles has put the chain, and he will go to the prison. Prison means jail. This is a punishment where they run away from the master because they are the slaves. Slave is a legal property and they have break it and they run away. See now what happens. Let's see what the soldier is going to do the Androcles. In those days, people who were found to be guilty of a serious crime were fed to wild beasts as punishment. Running away from one's master was a very serious crime at that time. Therefore, Androcles too was to be thrown to the wild beast. So students, in those days, in olden days, if a person run away from the master, okay, their punishment was to give them the person to the wild beast. Wild beast means animals. And running away from the master is a serious crime. So the soldiers is going to put the Androcles into the wild beast. Let us see the wild beast is going to attack the Androcles or no, or what else is going to happen. On the appointed day, the emperor arrived at the circus. Circus means a stadium, and took his place. The crowds cheered loudly. The trumpets blew the trumpet, and Androcles was brought into arena. Arena means a place where sports, entertainment, or other public events take place. His chains were unbound. He felt weak and dismayed. Dismayed means worried, sad, or disappointed. He was certain that this was the last day of his life. So, students, on the appointed day, the emperor arrived at the circus. Circus means stadium. The crowds who came to the stadium all cheered him loudly. The trumpeters blew the trumpet. Okay, now what happens? The Androcles was freed, and Androcles thought in the mind, this is the last day of my life. You know what is the punishment? He is going to throw away to the wild animals. Students, let us see. The Androcles is going to die. The wild animals is going to eat Androcles or no? Circus, a stadium, arena, events take place. Dismayed, worried, sad, or disappointed. At the opposite end, a gate was raised and a ferocious lion was released into the arena. Arena means a place where sports, entertainment, or other public events take place. It had kept hungry to make it more ferocious. Androcles was filled with fear, but he put up a brave front. Front means to show everyone by your behavior that you was not frightened. So students, you know that this is a circus where so many crowds are there. Androcles was escaped from the cruel master, and in those days it was a punishment to escape, and the Androcles was put to the wild beast. Here you can see the gate is open, the lion is there, and the lion was kept hungry for days. Androcles was filled with fear, but for the audience he didn't show. He showed that he was not frightened. So students, let us see the lion is going to eat the Androcles or no. But what else is going to happen? Put up a brave front to show everyone by your behavior that you're not frightened. Yes, you understood by seeing my image. What is the next paragraph? Let's read. The lion saw Androcles and rushed towards him, bounding. Bounding means having a moral or legal duty to do something, and roaring. But suddenly it stopped in its tracks. Then it moved slowly forward. All its range seemed to have melted. Antracles saw this too. Each friend recognized the other. So students, more than me, you understood this paragraph. You know that how Antracles had helped the lion, the injured foot, yet he removed the throne. So when the gate was released, when the lion moved slowly, he went running to Antracles. They both recognized each other. So friends, you know that when you help each other, you become the best friends. And the same way, they both have become the best friends. Let us see what happens next. Will the Androcles put to the other wild beast or he will be set free? Let us see. Range, extreme or violent anger. To everyone's amazement, the lion bounded towards Androcles again. But when it reached him, it began to purr and rub its nose against him. Androcles hugged the lion. He wept with relief and joy. Yes, students, you know that the Androcles, the lion, both love each other very much. And the crowd, the soldiers, the king was surprised to see this. Let us see what is going to happen next. The audience, including the emperor, watched this tender sight in great wonder. Tender means kind, loving, and gentle. People began to cheer Antracles and ask for his release. The emperor asked Antracles to explain the lion's strange behavior. Yes, you can become friend with a cat, dog, parrot, etc. But here is a friend with a lion. So the audience, the emperor was quite surprised. The emperor asked how this bonding became. The audience asked or shouted to the emperor to release Androcles. Tender, kind, loving, and gentle. When he heard the whole story, the emperor was also moved by the gratitude and friendship between man and beast. He ordered that Androcles should be set free. He would no longer be a slave. So students, when the emperor heard the story, he was very pleased. He told the the guards to set him free. He's no longer going to be a slave. Wow, what a such a good news, right? Now, Androcles is not a slave anymore because of his kind love towards animals. When the emperor asked Androcles what other reward he would like, Androcles replied that he did not want anything for himself, but he wanted the lion to be set free too. So, when the Androcles was set free, the emperor asked for a reward. Reward means prize. You know what is the answer of Androcles? He told he want the lion to be set free. Did not harm him. So kind and well-hearted man he was, thinking of others. The two friends went back to the forest to live a free life. Yes, they both were set free by the emperor and both were sent to the forest to live a free life. Such a kind heart the emperor was. He set free both of them. So, students, I hope you understood such a beautiful chapter, such a beautiful story. Thank you so much.